Earlier this year, I posted a video going into depth about the process and work that went into making a $42,000 or £30,000 music video. Despite the hours, days and weeks that went into this job, I didn't make any money. In fact, I lost money. This sparked some debate on both Reddit and YouTube about doing work for free in the industry and the negative effects that it can have. In particular, a comment from one Tyler Bedgood caught my eye. Tyler said, "You should not be doing this regularly. It's not good for our industry and it's not good for you. If you went to school for this, if you have a passion for this, if you've invested time and money into this, please, please, please value yourself and your capabilities." Now, Tyler definitely wasn't wrong here, but I'm not sure there necessarily is a wrong or a right in this scenario. It's circumstantial. I had a great chat with Tyler over Zoom for probably way longer than he would have liked on his day off about all things industry, but this topic in particular.
You got the two things. You got the race to the bottom, and then there will always be work for good people. And I think that it's just a matter of finding the balance. And you're always playing that game. Like, it never ends. And there's never a situation, even with the same client over and over and over again, where it's like, oh, well, this project we have a different budget for. So we need to, go back to the invoice and see what we can fluctuate to make it work.
If it was a career that's all about money, 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 and which people work to make money, right? In the Western world, in most of the fucking planet, people work to make money to buy things because that's how the world works now and has done for like the last 12,000 years. But we're in a very privileged position where there's a lot of people in the industry that we're not just working to make money, we're also working for enjoyment as well and to create something that you're proud of. And compared to like 99% of people, we're fucking lucky to do a thing that we love and get paid for it.
And I think that's like the number one takeaway of this whole thing is just remembering that. Again, it's a balance that you have to find with those two things. It's like, get something that you're happy with so you're not going to be negative on set. That's number one for me, right? And then also make sure that you are remembering the fact that you're here and like it's not always all about the money.
So it's not always about being too rigid with your day rate. There are reasons to do people favours other than just being nice. Selfish reasons that will help your own career. Whether you're a one-man band, head of a department, or further down the ladder, things tend to have a way of coming back to benefit you. Take a personally funded passion project I worked on about the love of the sport of rugby. Not only was I not being paid, obviously, I was paying for it myself, but I used my savings to hire my regular first AC at a reduced rate. At the time, it was probably about a third less than he'd normally be paid for a day's work. But I was open and honest with him, told him the money I had and what I wanted to do. A bit further down the line, I was able to leverage that passion project to get me a number of jobs that I wouldn't have otherwise have got, several of which I was able to bring that same first AC onto at full commercial rate. So we both ultimately benefited from that unpaid/low paid work. The director of one of those such jobs was my now increasingly good friend, although he does like to play hard to get sometimes, Tom Brown, a successful commercial director here in the UK who I also chewed the fat with over this whole working for free thing.
When I did do free work was when I was at a place where I had nothing, when I just wanted to be a director and I was doing music videos and shooting photos and doing behind the scenes for like magazine photo shoots and all of that stuff I did like for free or for like the cost of travel because I just needed something to put on a reel. Your job is really as a secondhand car salesman for yourself. And if you don't have any work to show, then really working for free is your only option to kind of make something that you can go, okay, here's what I do. And I think once you're in that position, then yeah, it's much easier to say no to free work. But when you have nothing on your reel, I think it can be, it's not great because it means people that don't have money don't get to be filmmakers. But like now that you can work on a phone, now that you can make TikToks, now that it's mainly about the raw ideas, more so than having the best equipment like it was a few years ago. I think that I'm less against working for free now because, you can do a little project at home on your phone, which then can maybe get you paid work in the future. It's tough out there. And when you're starting out from nothing, as we've said many times before, like, if you want to do a commercial where somebody's sitting on a car, you have to have some footage on your reel of someone sitting on a car. So your reel has to represent the work you want to get. And however you make that is up to you. Nobody's going to help you. So, you make it however you can. You get work on your reel in the best way you can. And I think you have to hustle it. So however you can get it, get it. And I think if that means working for free, as long as you're not kind of trying to exploit other people or pull other people into it, I guess I'm an advocate for doing whatever you possibly can to get the best reel you can to start you off.
So don't mug people off, but Do whatever you can to get what you need in order to progress. If you need others to take a financial hit in order to achieve something, then that's on you, as it has been on me plenty of times in my career's history. I think just be honest with people about what you're trying to do and make sure to pay it forward. Don't ask for too many favours time and time again without payback. Or find others in a similar stage in their career over the internet. There's plenty of Facebook groups out there with people eager and hungry to make something.
If you're coming up and you're not quite in that position yet and you're feeling like you have to take work for lower amounts of money, it won't always be that way, because you will end up getting more work and you will be in a point in your career, as long as you keep up with it and you're good at what you do, to be able to pick and choose jobs and be able to say no to jobs and have that flexibility if they're not paying enough. And then there will be somebody below you that isn't quite at that point in their career yet that will take that job. And that's just kind of the flow of this industry.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually, like having the foresight to like, no, it's not always going to be like this.
I want to give you 2 examples from my own career where working for free has led to something that I wasn't expecting. After an incredibly flattering email that confessed my love for one of my favourite band's documentary DVDs to the production company that had produced it, one of the earlier work experience jobs I managed to get as a just turned 17-year-old was as a runner on a music video for the now defunct production company The Left Side. Whilst on location, Ian, the owner of the company, asked me if I knew how to work a camera. I ended up shooting and editing the behind the scenes of the music video I was running on. I wasn't paid for any of this, but I remember being genuinely so excited to have the opportunity to do this, and for the good of my favourite band, no less. A few months later, this led on to my first paid corporate job for the sister company of The Left Side. I was just running and assisting, but this time being paid a handsome £50 a day for my time. This then led on to a £75 a day rate on bigger jobs, a massive amount of money to 17-year-old me at the time. And within a year, I was getting paid up to £250 a day to camera operate for them, and up to £150 a day to work on edits. I accumulated roughly £15,000 worth of income from Ian and his 2 companies over those few years of part-time work I did for them, following on from that first unpaid running job. Back in the spring of 2018, I DP'd a short film for free for a friend of mine from my college years, a very funny lady called Phoebe Borg, who at the time hadn't directed anything but did have several years history producing comedy shows. On this shoot, helping to produce was her comedy show comrade Christina. I did the shoot partly because Phoebe's my friend, and selfishly because I wanted to build out my DP reel for other directors, which was looking a little bare. Over the next year or 2, I saw Phoebe and Christina a few times at social events, but never once worked with either of them. There'd been a couple of production-based WhatsApps between Christina and myself, but never any talk of employment. Then, the following February 2020, when I had sod all else going on work-wise, I got a message from Christina asking if I'd be up for DPing a shoot for fast food giants Just Eat, working alongside photographer Owen Harvey. It was a 2-day shoot with a half-day's recce. Not at full APA rate, but along with some of my kit I managed to get on the job, it put £2,250 in my bank at a time when I had no other work on. This then did 2 things. It opened a door to a relationship with Just Eat, as well as opening a door to a relationship with Owen the photographer, who was looking to get into more directing work. Since February 2020, as a result of those 2 relationships that came as a result of doing free work on a short film 2 years previously, I've made just over £30,000. That's more than $40,000 in income. Now obviously there's tax to take into account here, but that amount of money, at least to me, is an enormous portion of my income over the last 18 months. It's that last job that gets you the next one, or that job from 2 years ago, you just never know. A short ramble from my chat with Tom that I want to leave you with before I wrap this up.
I haven't worked for free since September. But what I have done is I've happily taken like a much lesser fee, or I've said, I'll handle the edit because that way we can afford that better colorist rather than that. Even though I don't want to do that, but I'm just like, I get invested in a job and I care about a job and I want it to be the best it can be, unless it's one where I don't, because there are those that exist too. But when one comes along where I'm remotely excited about it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can do to make this the best it can be.
That was a lengthy one, that's what she said. So well done if you made it this far. Give me a like below to let me know you made it, and speak up in the comments if you've got more to add to the conversation. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more semi-helpful tips and interesting insider industry knowledge.